Hi and welcome to Projects and Things. My name's Yves. In this episode we're going to make a very strong plywood ladder and a safety triangle. And now we've arrived at the fairly tedious task of rounding over all of these rungs. Because when these are glued up, the straight ones, they will fulfill the basic function of a ladder, which is safely getting up things. But as I think any self-respecting ladder should do, is to also be nice in use, so people want to use it more and climb up high things more. Therefore, we're going to round over these things. And in order to do so, I have this contraption. It's not an actual router table, it's just my router on a long flat board. Basically what you do here is very carefully run these things along a round over bit as to not get your fingers caught. Fire up the engines! I'm going to use my crosscut sled, and over a length of about 10 centimeters I'm going to cut half the thickness out of this plank. Do the same on the other side so that I can lap joint these together with a lot of glue and make one long straight board. And here's the drawing of my ladder. A full sheet of plywood gives me all the way up till this second to top rung, and so I need to add 15 centimeters in order to fit the top one in, which I will be doing with lap joints. This actually stops you from making cuts that are not all the way through the board. I will then put those two on top of each other with lots and lots of glue and let them become close friends forever. Now I just have to make one small, one more, and then two large ones, which I'm not going to show you since it's just copy-paste. So at this point, the long side is glued up. There's no long side. The long sides, plural. So at this point, the two long sides of the ladder are done, and now it's time for the holdy-uppy things. Two pieces, I'm gonna add glue, and two tiny screws. I'm gonna hide those on the back so you don't see them, but they will provide clamping pressure because I don't have enough clamps. Incidentally, I did get two more clamps because my Instructables... This thing is in the way. That power plug's been hanging in front of my eyes the whole time. I won second place in an Instructables contest about cooking. So with the money, I bought myself clamps and a new welding mask and welding gloves, and it was fantastic. So excited about that. Anyway, wood, some wood glue. Spread this out a tiny bit, because the more surface you glue, the better the bond is going to be. That makes total sense. And then I just choose the best looking side, and that becomes the front. I now have decided that this is the ugly side. I'm sorry, ugly side. And you just get two screws in your bum. That is the first one done. Now just rinse and repeat 9 times. So now we're on to an interesting development. All the rungs are glued up together and now they need to slot into the side piece. What I want to do is actually make 20 different holes in the long parts. So I want them to have this form factor. It's a rectangle with rounded edges. For that I'm going to use this little contraption, which is a kopieervrees. It's a router bit with a ball bearing will run along a template and the router bit underneath will then cut out your thing to the same template. I'm going to use a few drill bits and I'm going to try and find the one that gives me the same radius as this thing to then make a template that as closely as I can resembles this rung. Let's try it. So in order to save the veneers, I go backwards a bit and then forwards. And I'm just going to cut through this line. So I don't kill the veneers when I cut through this. This is pretty overkill for a template, but I'm trying to get it precise. So my template is now done. I ended up having to kind of double this up and put a few spacers in so I can clamp it on one side and router on the other side. Because my router sort of bed is quite big. So how this works is I clamp this side on top of the board, center it, flip it over, and then my router dips down just past the board and the bearing runs on the template. Voila. So I just have to do that 20 times and we're good. And then you can just clean it up with a round file. And I forked up. This is my template. This is how much it should be offset from the edge. And what I have done, I made my hole centered instead of it being offset to the side. And also I did it like that for no good reason, while it should have been on this side. Good thing I noticed this after 2 holes, so I can hopefully save what I did. So I'm going to take my actual template and mark the right places I need to drill this. So, because I don't seem to learn from my mistakes, I ended up stabbing a few more holes in this board than was absolutely necessary. My router template moved a few times, so I have a little bit of holes that are a little bit too big. I'm gonna find dowels to fit in these holes to patch them up. And I ended up fitting a few more pieces of Baltic birch in this to patch up the holes. So I'm just gonna patch it up and live with my mistakes. Now this thing is going to be another template. I'm simply going to lay this on top of my second board, trace all the holes, and then I can easily place my small template. And simply copy paste another 10 holes and then it's time for assembly. So please bear with me while I slowly make a ladder. So now my wooden death trap for children is dry assembled. It seems to fit, it seems to be straight. I'm going to now take it apart and glue it up. And then we're on to, no, I'm forgetting something. One more step. I need to take these two side pieces and cut 3 tabs out of both of them for the sidey attachy things. I don't know, I made 6 small feet that are going to be assembled on these sides so I can drill it into the wall. Do that first. Okay, so now my template has been repurposed to a drilling template. I'm gonna make the problem worse before I can make it better. I didn't find a dowel rod that was 60 millimeters, but I did find one that's 18 millimeters. And so in order to fill an 18 millimeter hole, you need an 18 millimeter drill. With that 18 millimeter drill, I drilled an 18 millimeter hole in my template that I can now place on top of the old badly drilled hole and make myself an 18 millimeter decent hole to fill up with the 18 millimeter dowel rod. That's a lot of the same word. Let me show you what I'm doing here. So the making of the safety triangle I did not film. It's simply repeating image 1, then learning what a triangle looks like, adding some glue and screws, and in reality my battery was dead and I just wanted to finish this part quickly. So, done! Now my son can climb up on his bed and the kids can play safely on the platform. Now, of course, some of the trolls will still say that I'm making a murder death machine, but in order to remedy that, I've made a little service announcement. Welcome to Ladders and Safety Triangles. A small baby's head and their body will fit through here, but small babies are not allowed up here, and also the ladder is way too advanced for them, so they couldn't get up even if they wanted to. And yes, a small child will still be able to fall through this hole, but they will also be able to fall here, here, and here, or here, there, off of that thing, there, and even here. So yeah, 60% of the time it works every time. Thank you very much for watching. If you like these things I do, then please consider subscribing. There should be a button to do so below. And also off to my side here will be videos all about making stuff. So until next time, thank you.